Oh, we have all the mobile suits at level 90. So let's take a look at the stats. Looks like Gundam's doing pretty good. Maybe balance him out with a little bit of the range since his Hyper Bazooka is a range. So I think I'm probably going to focus actually to balance him out, make sure his melee is at least at like maybe 14, range at 1,000. It is possible to do that. Gun Cannon's full range, don't know why his melee is higher. Gun Tank's range is fine, he's supposed to be like that. The GM is balanced as hell, focus more on the range and melee parts. So definitely bouncing out between a 1,400 and 1,000 on range to do some damage. Zaku's just freaking weird as hell. He's all range with a little physical, but he barely has any physical attacks, so focus more on like the range aspect. But again, balance it out between melee and range. Dom has mostly range and melee, but I would just try to focus, make him into a big melee fighter if anything. But maybe get the range up to like 800 possibly. Zegog, again, another range and melee. So again, bounce out 1,400 on the melee and maybe do like 900 to 1,000 on the range. The Gelgoog, same thing. The Gundam ground type, mostly range, so you can make him very heavy on the range with melee at 800, 900. Easy 8, same thing, 800, not 800 to close to 1,000 because he already has melee, so you give him one melee part, brings him up to 900, give him a bunch of range parts, and he'll fight like a champ. Golf Custom, Jesus Christ, melee and range. Again, balance it out, 14,000, so yeah, at least you balance out the combination. Alex, mostly range, give her one melee, a couple of range items, kind of balance her range out to 1,000 or more. GM Sniper, focus mostly on range with a little HP. For sure, range than HP, yep. Camphor, same thing, range and HP, not too much on the melee. Thunderbolt, most same thing, focus on your range parts. Decent stat, 694 is really good. Zaku, Psycho Zaku definitely focus lots of range, lots and lots of range. Gundam GPO3, bunch of range as well. So again, a little melee and then a bunch of range items. 681's a savior. Zeta, since it's mostly range and melee, SP is a melee attack, so maybe give her melee like the 300 and make the range like maybe close to 1,000 if you can get it there. It is possible with the 300 items, so you can get the range up to 1,000, maybe the melee up to 1,000. Then I think you balanced her out pretty well. The Shiki, yeah, focus on range. Quibbly, definitely range. Theo, melee as hell. Actually balance out melee and range because his beam rifle 2-shot is actually really good. I would recommend that. Same thing, ZZ, make the melee at least close to 1,000, make the range a little higher to like over 1,000. Full Armor Z, focus mostly on the range. Yeah, focus mostly on the range so you can get that GG in. So yes to that. New Gundam, same thing, range, but you can give him like, again, get him to like 1,000 on melee and make his range high. Sazabi, same thing. Melee, heavy melee, like a 340, so it averages out 1,000, then you can give him a bunch of range and really do some damage. High New, focus on range, strong sharpshooter. Unicorn Gundam is range, melee, but again, 1,000 on the melee and over 1,000 on the range if you can by a little couple points. Full armor, definitely try to go full melee. You can give him one range to 1,000, make the melee high at 1,200. Definitely will hit like a champ. Banshee Infighter, definitely focus more. Give the melee up to 13, get the range maybe close to 900 so he hits. Banshee Norn actually deserves a lot of range weapons, so give him a lot of range. Definitely give him a lot of range since he's mostly a range fighter. The Shitara, definitely range it up. Yep, full range, since she is a sharpshooter as well. Sanaju, focus mostly on melee, bounce up between 1,400 and 1,000. I have done that before, and he actually was doing a lot of good damage. Narrative, Narrative's range melee, but make the melee like 1,000, get the range up to over 1,000 with a couple of range items, and I think he'll hit pretty solid. Since his SPA is a range, so you want the range kind of up more. Gundam F91, obviously range it up for sure. Crossbone, focus more on the melee. Like I said, get the range up to maybe like 1,000 if you can. Melee to 1,400, but if you can only go 800 on the range, that's fine. X2, melee range. Mostly get the melee up 1300, get the range up to 800, and go from there. Yeah, because he's mostly melee at the end of the day. Same thing with V2, lots of range since he is a big range fighter. You can give him one melee item so he actually does something with those wings, but yeah. G Self Pack, I'm kind of torn between the range because he actually has a couple melee attacks that do add up damage. So maybe like get the melee to 1,000, range up to like 13 or 12, something around those lines. Turn A, focus more on the melee for sure, since Gunhammer is pretty good and Moon Butterfly is a melee, so you want more damage out of your SPA than anything. Turn X, obviously, even though Turn X has 2 ranges, focus mostly on melee because he hits really hard as a melee fire. The cannon bazooka can still do some decent damage regardless. Burning, obviously melee, you know that. Master, melee as hell. Wing, you already know, full on range, those parts. Epion, full on melee, do not change that. Double X, even though range melee, focus mostly on the range. Get the melee up to at least 1,000 so you're doing some damage when you run out of bullets. Freedom Gundam. Mostly range. Heavy range, so get that range up to at least over 1,000. Melee can be at 900, that'd be fine. Justice, kind of same thing. Kind of have the melee up to 13 and have the range part at least close to 900 or 1,000. Providence, focus more on the range parts. You can probably... Nah, focus more on range for this guy. Sharpshooters are always full range. Always do the range if they have more range. Amatsu, actually another amazing end fighter, believe it or not. Great combos. Focus more on the melee parts. Let her hit like a truck. Destiny, I'm still kind of working out, but definitely balance out the melee with the range a little bit. Range at like 800, melee up a tiny bit since the SPA is more of like a melee attack than anything. And I think I got a lot of damage off that SPA when I was at over 1,000 with the melee, so definitely focus on that. Strike Freedom, again, range. Keep him some range. Get his melee up to 1,000 at least, which is very doable with the 340 items. So that's good. Infinite Justice, heavy melee, do not change. Thanks for the subscribe. Legend Gundam, range as hell with a little melee, so one melee weapon and then a bunch of range. Even though Red Frame has 2 ranges, I fully recommend just going full-blown melee. And if it has like a sub-weapon % up, use that as well. I mean, that'll help with the damage with his projectiles, but I definitely like Red Frame as the Empire that he is as a melee fighter. Same thing for Revice. Definitely melee. Keep him heavy since he may have a combination of shots, but I guess get the range up, but get the melee up at least close to like 12 or 13. Double O, definitely go full melee. Full melee parts. Cherudium, full range, because he is all range, and that's fucking godly, so that's why he does so much damage. If you watch the gameplay video. Arios, range, melee. It's a beam melee, so get the melee up a tad bit, make the range in 800. Cherudium, Ceravi, go actually full range on this guy, really strong stuff. Exia Repair 2, full melee regardless. Arche, a little bit more melee, again with sub-weapon, attack up if you have those parts. Reborn, kind of balance him out a little bit. Maybe go melee. Get melee and range to 1,000. I think he'll be pretty solid for both in and out fights, which is good. Gundam type ACD, range melee. Again, balance it out. Make it like 1,000 each if you can, or 13 or 800 on the range. Double O, definitely full melee this Mother Clucker with a little range weapon, but definitely go for the full melee if you can. Age FX, I kind of like him more as a melee fighter, even though he has 2 ranges. Since his SBA is more focused on melee, focus on some melee parts to do some really sick damage. Anyways, Barbados, full range, you already know. I mean, full melee. Barbados Lupus, full melee. Gundam Barbados Lupus Rex, full melee. And he improved every 20 until he hit his 40 stride. His 41 stride. Funny. Anyways, but yeah, definitely focus on that. Gujin, focus more on the little bit of the range, like have one melee item, get him to 900, and then get the range up to like 14, and then he'll do some real damage with that 110mm rifle. Gundam Bale, full melee, no debate. Vidar, full melee, and Julia, full melee, no debate on these guys. Musha, more melee, definitely get the melee all the way up, do not even bother with the range. Command Gundam, definitely try more of the range. I give him one melee, give him 800, and then the range up to 13. Night Gundam, full melee, don't change. Unicorn. I go mostly melee for this guy since his melee is kind of averaging more than his range. So melee, range up to 800 if possible. I'll go from there. C. Jihan, all melee for show. Nice character just to give all melee parts to hit like a truck. Wing Gundam is range with one melee, but I would recommend going full range. And Twin Wing Blaze is a range attack, so we have another one of those range type fighters like Cherudium. So mostly get range parts and get that range really good. Really high. Phoenix, focus more on the range. All because it says melee for that burning fire doesn't mean you should sleep on your other attacks. But definitely make the range high as hell, regardless. GM Get Road, full range, just like Cherudium. Full range items hit like a truck. And Latria is range with a little melee in between. So maybe one melee item to 1,000. The rest is going to be range parts up to like 1,300. So that's your level 90 grind there, folks. So I just wanted to give my little input on what parts you should probably just equip with the character so you have a little bit of an insight on what to do with them. So thanks for watching. Y'all be good. Y'all stay safe. And thank you, Name. Thank you, the subscribers and donators to this channel for the Gundam content. Much love to you guys. Glad I could keep bringing you that. And I'll see you another time. Peace out.